Would you please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Please call the roll.
Councilman Marcocchio.
Here.
Councilman Dooley.
Here.
Councilwoman Nicholson.
Here.
Councilwoman Marcotte.
Here.
Supervisor Colavita.
Here. Thank you all for joining us. Appreciate your time and attendance. It's kind of risky these days. You don't know whether you should have a mask on or not. Everyone's, a little confused by it, but I think we're going to be just fine. Anyway, we're going to move to appointments, and we have the first, which is the appointment of police sergeant. So at the request of the Chief of Police, Timothy Bonsi, I respectfully request the probationary appointment of Detective George Lage of Scarsdale, New York, to the position of police sergeant. Detective Lage has been in the force since January 2005, a 16-year veteran. He'll be assigned to the Detective Division, and the assignment will be effective starting May 21st, 2021. The annual rate of salary is $123,972. Holiday pay $62.51 and $4,500 for longevity pay. Detective Lage's name appears on the eligible list 78655, established on September 17, 2019. As provided in the Westchester County Civil Service rules, it is necessary for him to serve a probationary period of a minimum of 12 weeks to a maximum of 52 weeks, and funds have been provided for in the 2021 budget. So, what I'd like to do is call upon Chief Bonsi, if he could. I know he wants to say a couple of words about Detective Lage.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. As you said, today George can't be at the meeting, but he'll be here next meeting, for swearing in. But as a result of our interviews, I'm recommending the appointment of George Lage to the position of sergeant. He was appointed to the department in January of 2005, has served as a member of the Department Traffic Division, the Emergency Response Unit. He was a field training officer and appointed to the position of detective in 2013. And he currently is a member of the Detective Division, has a responsibility for all the criminal discovery material required by the DA's office. He's attended several specialized schools associated with his SWAT training and ERU training, as well as criminal investigator school. He has a bachelor's degree from Iona College in criminal justice. He can speak both Spanish and Portuguese. He's known for a strong work ethic and will be assigned to the Detective Division.
Terrific. Okay, do you have a motion from anyone?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right. All right, motion for Mr. Lage. Please call the roll.
Councilman Marcocchio.
In favor?
Councilman Dooley.
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte.
Aye.
Supervisor Colavita.
Aye. Congratulations, George. You're watching from home. Good luck to you. Okay, that's our first appointment. Our second, once again, at the request of the Chief of Police, requesting the probationary appointment of Police Officer Michelle Castellano to the position of Police Sergeant. Officer Castellano has been on the force since January 2013. She will be assigned to the Patrol Division. This assignment will be effective starting May 21st, 2021. The annual rate of pay of $123,972, holiday pay of $62.51, and longevity of $1,500. Police Officer Castellano's name appears on the eligible list 78655, established on September 17th, 2019. As provided for in the Westchester County Civil Service rules, it is necessary for her to serve a probationary period of a minimum of 12 weeks to a maximum of 52 weeks, and funds have been provided for in the 2021 budget. Chief Bonsi, any comments on
Yes.
Officer Castellano?
Sure. Again, just to mention, too, there were a couple of very qualified other candidates that were also involved in the interview process, as well as the town board, and I can speak for everyone, that everybody really interviewed really well, so I think we have a good future for the department. As a result of the interviews, I'm recommending the appointment of Michelle Castellano to the position of sergeant. She was appointed to the department in January 2013. She's attended several specialized schools, including juvenile officer and school resource officer. She has been the primary school resource officer at the Tuckahoe School District for the last 2 school years, where she's excelled in that assignment. I get a lot of compliments about Michelle and how she interacts with the students there, and with the faculty, and she's involved in some investigations in the school, and she's done an excellent job. She's a dedicated member of the department. She's always done an excellent job in all her assignments. She will be assigned to the patrol division and will attend supervisor's school in the fall.
Sure. I'll make that motion. Ask for a second, please.
Second.
All right. Please call the roll.
Councilman Marcocchia?
Aye.
Councilman Dooley?
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Supervisor Colavita?
Aye. Congratulations, Sergeant Castellano.
Hi there. Good evening, everyone. I have about 10 seconds before my 16-year-old thinks this is all embarrassing to her. I'm very honored and humbled to be here before you today to receive this promotion. I would like to thank the town of Eastchester for giving me the opportunity to prove myself as a police officer and now as a sergeant. And as usual, he takes the crowd. Okay, so I would also like to thank my family for their never-ending support and the men and women of the Eastchester Police Department, with whom I am proud to work alongside each day. I look forward to serving the town and the department well in this new role. Thank you again.
You're very welcome. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
There are 2 Sergeant Castellanos in your household now, so that's going to make for some interesting kitchen table talk, I'm sure. But we wish you the very best of luck, and of course your husband's doing an excellent job also. And I also like to recognize the men and women of the Eastchester Police Department that are also here, who have served the people of Eastchester in an excellent capacity for the longest time. And we appreciate and value your work, especially on the heels of Police Memorial Weekend. We had a wonderful ceremony, a commendation ceremony, but also a recognition ceremony for all the officers that put themselves at risk every day for each of us here on this dais and in this town. So thank you once again for attending. I think we'll take a 2-minute recess, and then we'll resume back again. So you can clear out if you like. Don't worry. Thank you very much, all. Okay, let's roll back in. We have one other appointment, and we have a memorandum from my office, and it's recommending the appointment of Carmelina Chiavetta at Oregon Ave to the position of court clerk effective May 28th, 2021 through December 31st, 2021, at the annual salary of $66,952. Carmela has done an excellent job for the 2 judges in the court. She is very knowledgeable on all the processes and operations of the court, and we're delighted to confer this position of clerk upon her. And the monies have been provided for in the 2021 budget. So I'll make that motion. Ask for a second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilman Marcocchia?
Aye.
Councilman Dooley?
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Supervisor Colavita?
Aye. Next, we have the approval of minutes of the April 13th and April 29th meetings. Anyone care to make a motion?
I'll move them. I'll second.
All right. There being no modifications or amendments, please call the roll.
Councilman Marcocchia?
Aye.
Councilman Dooley?
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Supervisor Colavita?
Aye. Next, we have reports of departments, boards, and commissions. We have the Police Department report. While the chief is making his way up, we can receive and file the April 2021 V&T and parking summons report together with the detective report and a statement of accounts. And I would also add that how much time has changed, right? A year ago, we wrote 1 parking summons in the month of April 2020 and issued 1 moving violation. It was like nobody was on the street, there was nothing going on, and it was quite a time. So luckily, We've gone up about 1,500% in one category and 430% on the other. So thank you very much, Chief, for moving along.
Just to expand on that a little bit, I know that 2 meetings ago, someone brought up a question where we asking people to issue, moving violations during the pandemic. So, Tony, we spoke every day probably during the whole time, so you're aware of it, but it kind of gets out in the public and you want to kind of clarify it. So I just want to say, during the month of April, as you saw, we wrote 1 ticket. We kind of put out an order to limit traffic enforcement, any interaction with the public. It was really quiet. There weren't many cars on the street to begin with. But we also, as you said at the last meeting, we do have an obligation to make sure the streets are safe. And as the pandemic went on, as you noticed, a little bit in Eastchester, we got complaints, but even on the news, you saw that people were drag racing and taking advantage of the fact that the police weren't out enforcing the law. So, slowly after, May and into the beginning of June, and, Lieutenant Rodriguez is in control of the patrol division. He did an excellent job of really kind of easing things back, and we did start to make some arrests if people had suspended licenses, or even if you look on an accident report, I think we had 1 accident in the whole month of April last year because of that lessened traffic. But it was a gradual bounce back, and there came a point in June and July where we did need to get back to normal a little bit, and it was a gradual, but that's kind of how it went. And one other thing, somebody brought up the mutual aid agreement at the last minute, and they questioned why at the last meeting, they questioned why Bronxville wasn't in that agreement. The agreement that you okayed was for a grant for emergency response unit. And so Bronxville participates in that unit, but they don't commit full-time because they don't have adequate manpower to be able to do that. So there's a mutual aid agreement in the whole county that every single municipality, including Bronxville, Scarsdale, everybody is a participant in that, us as well. But that particular agreement was just for the purpose of obtaining a grant, and it was an emergency response unit grant, not the mutual aid plan that's in the whole county. And just the last thing, Thursday is Lieutenant Jensen's last day of work. He'll be retiring after 41 years of service to the department. He was promoted to lieutenant in 1996, and he's been the executive officer since 2007. So, he had a really good, long career, almost 41 years, and I just want to wish him and his family the best and thank him for his many years of loyal service to the department. He was always put the department and the town first, so he really should be commended for that. And, again, I wish him the best.
Thank you. Okay, Law Department report, Mr. Rader.
Yes, good evening. First, I have a resolution authorizing a settlement of a certiorari proceeding instituted by UB Eastchester Plaza, LLC, affecting the premises known as Section 66K, Block 4, Lot 1, address being 375 White Plains Road, and the assessment years on this property are 2015 through 2020, tax years 2016 through 2021, and the total town tax refund on this property is $19,244.24.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Councilman Marcocchio?
Aye.
Councilman Dooley?
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita?
Aye.
Okay, next, I have a resolution authorizing the settlement of a certiorari proceeding instituted by Joseph A. Bruno, LLC, affecting the premises known as Section 44, Block 2, Lot 1, address being 475 White Plains Road. The assessment years on this property are 2015 through 2019, tax years 2016 through 2020, and the total town tax refund on this property is $18,197.18. So moved.
Second. Please call the roll.
Councilman Marcocchio?
Aye.
Councilman Dooley?
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita?
Aye.
Okay, and last, I have a resolution authorizing the supervisor to execute a stipulation of settlement agreement arising from a claim brought by the Fair Housing Justice Center against the town of Eastchester in the amount of $635,000 for a lawsuit involving alleged claims concerning the administration of the town's Section 8, or the also known as the Housing Choice Voucher Program, and the town zoning code provisions. Further, this resolution shall authorize the supervisor to execute any additional documents related to the settlement agreement, including the amendments to the covenants and restrictions that were dated March 8, 2019, and they were recorded in the office of the Westchester County Clerk on May 10, 2019, control number being 590173499.
Yeah, on this, I just want to spend a moment on this because it's come up at a couple of board meetings in the past, and just, to put a little background together and bring attention to it. The entity Mr. Rader mentioned commenced this action about 5 years ago, alleging unfair housing practices, specifically regarding our Section 8 voucher program and our senior housing special permit section of the zoning code. And the complaint was about a residency preference that was in each of those. The Section 8 program I'll mention first. We had a housing choice voucher program, or what we called Section 8, just to keep less wear and tear on the tongue. The Section 8 program, since its inception, the town maintained a resident and a non-resident waiting list for the limited number of vouchers that we administered. The plaintiff asserted that we should not have maintained two lists, but rather a single waiting list without preferences as to residency. But each year, our program was audited by HUD. HUD is the controlling agency here. And each year, the submissions included both the resident list and the non-resident list. At no time did HUD ever advise the town that keeping two lists was improper. Notwithstanding that, in 2019, we turned the program over to White Plains, which merged both lists. Turns out, as we learned throughout the process of this matter, that we were being reimbursed at a rate of 70% for the administration, meaning salaries and expenses and all for this program, where other places were being reimbursed, some at 100%, some at 105%. So, it was a no-brainer, really, to remove the program and assign it up to White Plains, as, we saved the taxpayer dollars on the difference between what we were reimbursed for and the actual expenses for the department. Also, nobody was impacted. No vouchers were lost. The program was simply being administered by a different agency. We were not going to handle it anymore as of, I think it was early in 19. So that was on the housing voucher program. The second part of the case pertained to the residency preference in our senior housing special permit category in the zoning code. So we provide that you can build senior housing. You have to have 15% affordability. You have to have, a certain number of parking spaces, and all these different particular requirements that pertain to building, the construction of a building with regard to seniors. And it's important to note that the town does not build any housing. We do not engage in the business of housing. We simply permit housing to be constructed. Other entities, not the town, will build stuff. Other developers within the community, outside the community, come in and they'll build stuff up. It's not about us doing any construction. But anyway, the section of the code provides for 55 and older only, and we had a residency preference. So residents first, and then non-residents would have an opportunity to come in. This was created for the simple purpose of helping Eastchester, Tuckahoe, and Bronxville seniors stay in the town. That's what this was all about. HUD supports and recognizes a strategy called Aging in Place for Seniors as a means of seniors basically thriving in the community that they're in. We wanted to continue to have our seniors go to the same doctors, the same hospitals, the same parks, the same churches, the same polling locations, participate in the same senior programs with their friends and all the other services that we provide. And also, we wanted them to be near their family and near their friends who provide a great level of support, probably greater than the town can do. That was our position about providing for our seniors to have, this aging-in-place program provided for them. We felt very strongly about it. I mean, other places like Bedford and Yorktown, when they came under fire, they just wrote checks, I think $300,000, $100,000, whatever it was, right off the bat without even, having any kind of fight for their seniors. But based upon HUD's position, we felt our case was strong. But we made a motion for summary judgment, meaning a motion to end the case, that our position was so strong it ends right there. But the judge did not agree with our position. The judge said to both parties, I want you to settle this matter. 3 times in his decision, he points out that the parties should exercise their best efforts to settle this matter, meaning you don't want to have it go to trial, get it worked out. So we spoke with our carrier. The carrier basically, their position was, let's settle the matter because it was their money. We're insured for this claim. When the settlement dialogue took place, this was about insurance company money. The town of Eastchester is not writing a check for this settlement. This is all insurance proceeds that are covering this. And of course, they were concerned about going to trial, the expenses related to getting to trial, then working through trial, and of course, the possibility for any kind of, damages that may occur if one side or the other prevailed. So their position was very strong. Settle the matter. We'll put our money in. You guys back out. The plaintiff, on the other hand, could care less about Eastchester seniors, Bronxville and Tuckahoe seniors included. They were just about, getting their fees squared away. But we do. We care about our seniors. And it was all about aging in place for Eastchester and Tuckahoe and Bronxville seniors. That's what it was all about, and nothing else. So there's been no admission of liability by the town. The insurance company will pay the sum of $635,000, as Mr. Rader indicated, from our insurance policy, not town dollars. And we're going to change our covenant restriction in our zoning code to remove the residency preference. Also, the age restriction stays. It was very important for us to keep the age restriction because we don't want to inundate the schools with kids. They're kind of maxed out right now, as we all know. So that's the general information on this particular matter. It was going on for 5 years. It was quite, quite exhausting, but it's resolved. And fortunately, it's resolved with insurance company proceeds. So with that being said, I will make the motion to approve the resolution and ask for a second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilman Marcoccia?
Aye.
Councilman Dooley?
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita?
Aye. Okay, next we have the Highway Department report. Mr. Latella, how are you, sir? Working like crazy? Glad there's no snow out there?
Absolutely.
Only problem is, so you turn around, it's leaf season. That's the problem.
That's for sure. Good evening, Supervisor Calavita, members of the town board. I'd like to report our annual spring tree planting program was a success and concluded with planting of over 75 street trees throughout the town. These trees improve the environment and beautify our surroundings. We thank all the residents who requested these trees. Due to the high demand, we did exhaust all our supply of trees very quickly. All further requests will be added to our planting list of spring 2022. Our yearly stormwater management program began with the cleaning of our stormwater catch basins. Our program also includes regularly scheduled street sweeping and litter pickup operations. These maintenance activities are essential in providing clean and quality waterways. A reminder for our green waste pickup, we ask that our residents place yard waste materials in biodegradable bags or labeled containers and place it at curbside no earlier than the evening before the scheduled pickup. Our Chester Heights area on North Shore Road received a new planting bed where trees and shrubs were planted and installed. Our employees did a wonderful job and really enhanced the aesthetics of this area. That's all I have to report. Thank you, Supervisor Calavita, members of the town board.
Any further comments or questions?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Littell. Thank you very much. Okay, we can receive and file also our receiver of taxes report for the period of April 2021, and collections are very good, thank heavens. Next, we have correspondence. We have a memorandum from the controller on part-time and seasonal employees, and this is, predominantly Lake Isle and a little bit of highway. So I'll make the motion. Ask for a second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilman Marcoccia?
Aye.
Councilman Dooley?
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita?
Aye. Next, we have a memorandum from the tax assessor on a tax refund application for Section 66L, Block 2, Lot 41. Apparently, the Cold War exemption was removed from the property, causing an error of $379.35. So what we're seeking to do here is to approve the Cold War exemption refund in the amount of $372.51. And I'll move that. Ask for a second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilman Marcoccia?
Aye.
Councilman Dooley?
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita?
Aye. There being no miscellaneous business, we have council member reports. Councilman Marcoccia.
Thank you, Supervisor. I just wanted to, first of all, mention that I was at an Italian-American club meeting. There was their first in-person meeting since the pandemic started. It was very nice. There was a limited amount of people that attended, but it was nice to see everyone again, and it was nice that they're able to start in-person meetings again. Also, I want to mention about Lake Isle. As I mentioned at the last town board meeting, May is a big month at Lake Isle. While the golf course is in full swing, the outdoor tennis courts are ready to go as well. The bubble came down last week, so come in and register for summer tennis today. The pools are also opening up this month, starting Memorial Day weekend. The holiday weekend hours are 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and for more information on how to register, pool hours, or for anything else, please visit our website at www.lakeislecountryclub.com. To register for the season, you may come into Lake Isle membership office or do so online. The membership office hours are 9 to 5 on weekdays and 10 to 4 on weekends. We have had a surge in online registration this year, so if you don't want to go into the office, you can feel free to register online. It's a very smooth and easy process, and that's been very well received over the past couple of years. I also want to mention that our registration is way up, particularly over last year. I mean, we're well beyond where we were last year, which is good. And let's see what the next couple of months bring, but I think it's going to be a banner year for Lake Isle. Also, Lake Isle and the American Cancer Society hosted the annual Relay for Life fundraiser last Saturday. It was more of a virtual event, which turned out to be a huge success. There was a lot of local support, including local students. Great work by the coordinator of the event, Leanne Todd, and our councilwoman, Teresa Nicholson. Thank you for that. I also wanted to take the opportunity to congratulate all of our graduating college students and soon all of our senior high school students. So good job and best of luck to all of you. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilman Dooley.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This past weekend, I had the honor of attending a couple of events. One was the Village of Tuckahoe Police Department Remembrance Ceremony, and the other was the Town of Eastchester Police Department Annual Memorial and Award Ceremony. It was great to be out there. They were both well attended. I don't think last year we had them because of, the COVID situation, but it was good to see everybody out there. It was a great event. Both events were great. For Eastchester, they honored 3 retired police officers. Police Officer Michael Corsi, who passed away in June of 19. Lieutenant Robert Hunter, who passed away in January of 20. And Police Officer Anthony Kuzma, who passed away in March of 20. Again, both great events, and it was good to see everybody out there. I'd also like to congratulate Sergeant Jensen on a great career. It's going to be sad to see him go. As mentioned, this Thursday is his last day, so we wish him the best. Congratulations to the new sergeants we just appointed tonight. And also, I'd like to congratulate all the graduating college students. So thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Nicholson.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Park and Rec, I would like to talk about the upcoming summer events. We have the camps, which still have room in the half-day camp program for K through 2nd. And additionally, for K through 6th graders, the Bronco Hoop camps and the 1st and 4th sessions of the Bronxville Sports, and science camps are still available. So you can log on to www.eastchester.org in the Parks and Rec section for the registration information details. This year, the softball clinic, the Eastchester Recreation and the varsity softball coaches from the Eastchester and Tuckahoe High Schools are proud to present the Little Eagles and Little Tigers softball clinic. This clinic are for residents in 3rd to 8th grades who are looking to learn from high school to coaches and players. Registration information is online on the website. And all looking forward to Wednesday nights sitting at Lake Isle Golf Range overlooking the sunset. There will be the summer concert series Wednesday. The first one's Wednesday, June 30th at Lake Isle Country Club with the band Dr. Garvey and the Scrubs. This concert is sponsored by the Eastchester Tuckahoe Chamber of Commerce, and the full lineup of concerts and sponsors will be available on the website next week, so be sure to check it out. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Marcotte?
Thank you, Supervisor. I just also want to mention, I know the Supervisor and Councilman Dooley mentioned about Police Week. I, too, had the honor and the privilege of attending, I think it was like the first real big outdoor ceremony of the year at the Village of Tuckahoe on Saturday at 9 a.m. We were all there, and it was a beautiful ceremony. Many residents came, and I just want to say thank you to the men and women of the Tuckahoe Police Department, all of our police officers everywhere. And this particular ceremony this year, was in memory of Sergeant Robert Sable and Patrolman Richard Spatter, and of course their families were there. Both men served long and distinguished careers in the community, and God bless them, and we thank them all. And to all the men and women out there who serve on the force, stay safe, and we back you. That's my report, Supervisor.
Thank you. For my own report, I really don't have much to add. You guys covered a lot of ground that I was going to talk about. You know, it's like always the old joke Governor Cuomo used to say, it's all been said already, but not everyone's had a chance to say it yet. So I'll reserve my time. Anyway, I just want to mention a brief congratulations to all of the college grads. I have 3 down and the last one halfway done, so I'm almost across that finish line. So all your parents out there paying that tuition, good luck to you. Anyway, okay, that brings us to the second opportunity to address the board. Mr. Diarco? Good evening. Just give us your name, please.
Good evening, Supervisor Colavito, Town Board members, Chief Bonsi, and to all our residents watching at home. My name is John Diarco. I reside at 8 Boulder Lane, the north end of Eastchester. I have lived and worked in both the Village of Tuckahoe and the town of Eastchester for the last 50-plus years. I've worked for 7 village mayors, 5 town supervisors, and numerous boards of education in both school districts. I am quite familiar with town and village government. So what brings me here this evening? Let's say it was my community conscience encouraged me to attend tonight's meeting. After watching the last several board meetings, I felt compelled to speak out on behalf of Eastchester's silent majority. I don't believe the behavior and atmosphere of the last several meetings are indicative and characteristic of our town. Many of us who lived here for decades and raised our families here in a safe, peaceful town cannot accept this type of behavior toward our town government. Many of us old-timers who are still fortunate enough to call Eastchester home are now watching our children raising their families. My grandchildren are 4th generation, attending local public schools and participating in some of the same activities I enjoyed growing up in Eastchester during the 60s and 70s. I certainly realize there have been some drastic changes in our town over the last 60 years. We can't park on White Plains Road, Lord & Taylor's has left us, and our town movie theater on Garth Road has become part of a new apartment complex. However, the more things change, the more they seem to stay the same. We still have a popular and effective town supervisor named Colavito and a dedicated town board who works alongside our supervisor 24/7, 365 days a year to keep Eastchester a safe, affordable town to raise a family. Our public schools are excellent, many of them winning blue ribbon recognition. Our police force is one of the best in Westchester. Chief Bonsi is a lifelong resident of this town who has unselfishly devoted more than 35 years of service to our public safety. I can remember when a young officer, Monty, would work a midnight tour, get off work, would come up to Eastchester High School during the hot summer months of double sessions football and help coach. He was a role model for our student athletes. He was an excellent role model where many of our graduates joining the police force following in his footsteps. Chief Bonsi went on to earn a degree at Iona College and moved up through the ranks. His professional leadership of this department was evident several months ago when several town-wide marches and demonstrations hit the streets of Eastchester. The men and women of the police department were well prepared, well trained to handle a very potentially dangerous situation. These demonstrations were carried out in a peaceful, orderly manner without the slightest hint of violence or any civil unrest. The entire town should appreciate the tireless efforts and countless hours of training and commitment Chief Bonsi and his department sacrificed for the safety of our residents. I realize the town-wide election season is quickly approaching, and certain individuals need to make a statement trying to bring national politics to Mill Road. Or maybe it's just global warming and there are far too many full moons on the calendar and everyone's thought process has gone a little haywire. I've been shocked at the disappointment at some of the outrageous remarks coming from this podium, attacking our town officials. Our town board and police department deserve our total support and respect, especially in the aftermath of all the anti-police publicity sweeping across our country. Town board meetings are the voice of democracy. Grassroots politics 101A, your government in action. Town board meetings give residents the opportunity to address their elected officials. This occurs at each and every town board meeting. The supervisor moderates the discussion using Robert's Rules of Order. Supervisor Calavito is always very professional and courteous to the speakers at the podium. He will always summarize the topics that were discussed and then gives his final remarks on the subject. Sometimes a certain group or group of individuals may not agree with the final remarks. In some neighboring towns and villages, residents must submit questions or concerns to their board weeks prior to even receiving an answer. Eastchester Town Board encourages open dialogue from the public. It's okay to agree to disagree with our elected officials, but nasty, vulgar comments and remarks have no place on our agenda. Have we learned anything over the last several months from the national political climate in our country? Civil unrest, reckless violence, and senseless killing must stop. Law and order, treating each other with respect and dignity are the keys to a peaceful environment. Maybe we can't solve all the world's problems at Mill Road in Eastchester, but working alongside our elected officials is a start. If enough small towns follow this path, our nation is heading in the right direction. Democracy in action in your town of Eastchester. Keep it going in the right direction for another 100 years. God bless our town and our town officials. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well said.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, John. Anyone else care to speak? David? Yes. Mr. Marr? Good evening.
Thank you, Supervisor and Town Board, and that's a very difficult act to follow. I thought he did very well. First thing I wanted to say was I wanted to commend you and your police for responding so quickly to the aid that the Tuckahoe Police Department unfortunately needed right after the beautiful ceremony, in fact, that I was at as well. And it was just until we learned of what happened afterwards, it was just it was a perfect morning. Beautiful day. We're getting to see people outdoors all together at the same time, and it was the opportunity to honor a couple of really good families. It's a situation, it's very frustrating. I know we can't talk too much specifically about a pending, potentially criminal matter, but apparently the perpetrator was well known to the Tuckahoe police. In fact, they'd probably involved in saving his life in one instance. And it's the kind of thing that makes me, as a county official, want to work harder and pledge to work harder on community mental health and restoring funding that had been lost over time and programs lost there, and including community mental health centers, and the concept that was originally thought of when we're transforming mental and behavioral health treatment, which is smaller group homes with supervision and that sort of thing, and I hope we can make progress on that. Next, I'm going to make an apology to you and to my staff, because you, Mr. Supervisor, because you had pointed to sort of a wise guy, flippant comment in one of my postings, and it was to some extent. At least you felt it was, and so I would apologize for that. And equally important, I'm apologizing to my staff, because you posited the theory that maybe it was written by my staff and I didn't see it. I take responsibility for everything that's in my postings, and honestly, I wrote that. And in fact, they said, "Do you really want to do that?" So, we can get beyond that.
No hard feelings.
Okay. But with respect to the point, we wanted to talk about, finding out why there was an issue regarding federal funding and community development block grants. And in fact, the county is going to be getting, or the consortium to whom the county doles out the money is going to be doubled because of, all the federal money that's coming down. And it's still a consideration that you should have. And by the way, I'll correct part of the record on what you said. You said, you said the town was wary of such federal funds because of strings attached, and you mentioned that the county also was concerned about that. But the county has not been concerned about the strings. I guess the strings are something your constituents have to ask you about what that means. But as I say, we're continuing to get federal money pursuant to the stipulation in the county fair housing case. Still pushing for the things that we agreed to in this stipulation, which includes trying to persuade towns and villages that were part of the municipalities that were named in that litigation to adopt the model zoning ordinance to get some more affordable housing in their jurisdictions. And the county's giving outright grants to those municipalities that go above and beyond their own ordinances or the model zoning ordinance. Again, as you said, it's not the municipalities getting the money, but it's developers who come to your town or one of the villages with new housing or rehab of and reuse and repurposing of other real estate. Just a couple of other things. Oh, yeah, the big one. I'm glad to hear of the settlement of the fair housing situation, litigation. But, still, we're still, hopefully there'll be more so that you will be, we all will be, in good graces in terms of what's required by the feds, including, last time you had mentioned you're looking to get federal money with regard to the dam. So, that's still out there. Not all money coming from Washington apparently is tainted in your respect. Final thing, what's going on in the county legislature? The big item is the co-op disclosure law, which is very likely to pass our next meeting on the 24th, which is next week. There'll be the public hearing. The three changes in the current law basically will be in the event a buyer is turned down by the co-op board, and this is after almost 100% of the time. This is when a buyer has put down 10% down payment, has been approved by a bank for a loan, as a creditworthy person. But in the event after that, the co-op board turns down the person, they're now going to have to give a reason, just as the bank would have to give a reason under federal law for turning you down for a mortgage or for a car. Number two, if a co-op board has some particular minimum income and asset requirements, they'd be required to tell the purchaser that in advance, so they know they're not wasting their time. And if they don't have such a policy, there are a number of factors that will be required that they put in the application that indicate what kinds of things they're going to look for. And finally, co-op boards have been required to go to fair housing law training, 2 hours, similar to what realtors do now, I think, but probably a lot less than what realtors do. And from the political standpoint, my email has been running about 7 or 8 to 1 in favor of this legislation, and I think it's because it protects both the buyers and the sellers, people who are making their next move, whether a young family that's going to buy a house, or they're older folks who are going to move south or move into some kind of assisted living. They want it to be liquid, a liquid asset, and knowing from representing my father's estate and selling his co-op, that there are extra hurdles than there are in selling a house or a condo. So, we're looking to pass that. I'm in favor of it still. If people want to contact me with their opinions, happy to hear them. And, nothing's done till it's done, but, I'm very optimistic that this is a good forward step in transparency and liquidity for co-op apartments. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Have a
very
good
much.
evening. Bye-bye.
Mr. Santamaria? Just give us your name and address, please, for the record. Thank you.
Good evening. Joseph Santa Maria, 58 Stewart Place. Tony, first of all, across from the Greek church, are they building assisted living there? What's going on? I see there's a lot of activity there.
I'm not sure. I was there today, as a matter of fact. Parked in the Greek church, walked over to the dam to do some stuff at the dam.
Right.
And I saw Manny Loros there, who was attending a funeral. So I said, you know anything about what was going across the street? But he did not. And I didn't think to ask Noam Bramson, who was with me. But there is a project going on there. It's like a development project. I don't know if it's a single building or if it's, multiple homes like is, around the corner like by Iona Prep.
Right.
I can't tell you with any certainty what it is. But I do know that Cooper's Corner is out and this thing is going in. And it was approved by the New Rochelle Board.
Okay.
But I don't know specifically what it is. I can find out, call you.
All right. Also, I just want to compliment the Highway Department. I'm living in town a little over 20 years. This guy Rocco took over. I didn't know him. And you go around town now, he's taking it to a whole nother level. I see plastic picked up, garbage picked up, bulk picked up. Anything thrown out, he's got the guys on top. I mean, I don't know what he's doing to the guys, but they've gone to extreme levels. And I just want the people in this town to know what a great job he's doing.
Thank you, Joe.
Last meeting, that lady from Tuckahoe was talking about how the board treated the woman from Ossining. I watched that tape 3 times. I'm trying to figure out what she's talking about because I'm clueless. You were all professional about the whole thing. She made it sound like you tortured the woman. And again, I cannot figure out what she's talking about. I don't know what it is with her in the town of Eastchester. She thinks that we would discriminate against people. Come to Lake Owl. I'm at the pool. My wife and I, we hang out with our Hispanic friends, our Asian friends, all the time. So I have no idea what that lady's talking about. I did watch the tape 3 times. So I don't know. I just want to let you know. Another thing, it seems like the town of Eastchester has been a punching bag lately with these immigration issues. I don't know why. The social media has a big thing with it. My parents were immigrants. I was born here, born in the South Bronx. My parents were familiar, came 12 days on the boat. Back then, you had to be sponsored. My father was sponsored by his uncle. My mother was sponsored by her aunt. 12 days on the boat, had to pass the physical, and my father had polio. Passed the physical, and 5 years to the day, they became citizens, because that was the thing to do. So, again, they're talking about immigration. Our parents are immigrants, and there was a process back then on how to become a citizen. As time went on, that process wasn't enforced, and now we have what we have now. You have that county official that keeps coming here, talking about the town. He says one thing, another person says another. Why don't you take the data from everyone getting these vaccine shots, and then you'll know how many people live in Westchester County, and how many people live in the state of New York, and then you could tell how many immigrants are here and how many citizens are here, because we pay our taxes like everybody else does, and you'll see a big difference. Use that data to our advantage now. Everybody's getting a shot.
That's a good point.
They're getting the shot now. You know, we lost the seat because we were short 20 or 30 votes in New York State because of this, you know, they did the census, and they said that everybody was afraid to fill out the forms because of the previous president. Honestly, instead of pounding on ourselves, use that data. Then you'll see what's out there. You'll really see what we have in this state and Westchester County. So that's it. I just want to let you know. All right?
Thank you very much for your comments. Thank you, Mr. Santamaria. Chief Bonsi? Anybody else? Okay, great. All right, someone can make a motion to adjourn?
Can I just make
Oh,
one
yes, of course.
announcement?
Teresa, yes.
One announcement, the Care Coalition, Eastchester Care Coalition is holding the 4th Candlelight Vigil next Thursday, May 27th at 7:30 at the gazebo across from Town Hall here, and hope you can join us. This will be an outdoor event, and it will be a little ceremony for our lost Glenn Bolito, so hope to see a nice attendance again next Thursday, May 27th at 7:30, the Candlelight Vigil.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess we're adjourned. Thank you all.